What is up, everyone? I am here with Pat, Hurrdat's director of podcasting. Pat, how are you?
I'm great. Thanks, Nick.
Yes, yeah. Of
How
course.
are you?
I am doing good.
Good.
It was a good weekend, relaxing weekend.
Good.
And I was thinking, so there were a few things that I wanted to update, like the Commonwealth audience on. I joined Hurrdat and realized I didn't really ever explain what Hurrdat is, why I joined, whatnot. And then I have a few just general schedule moving forward, the Commonwealth updates, I guess, is the word I'm looking for. And I thought it would be weird to just talk in the microphone myself.
It's super weird, right?
Yeah. So, to start with, and I guess for the record, for the loyal Commonwealth listeners, Pat's co-host, Pat is a podcaster, and his co-host is Jill, who was on a couple episodes ago. So, the Pat and JT show, go check it out. I was on a few episodes ago, a few weeks ago, but yeah, the show rocks.
And you were on another one last week, and then our file was corrupt, so we never could post that episode.
Oh, damn.
Yeah. So I don't know if we're gonna have you on in the near future because you're corrupting it. No, it's happened before, but yeah, we couldn't post it. It was a great fun episode, and it was couldn't use it.
Yes, it was probably me. So
probably.
Yeah, I'll take the credit. All right, so Pat, so to start with, if you could help to explain what Hurrdat Media is.
Okay.
That Hurrdat started as a marketing company, and then when they got into podcasting, they acquired your and Jill's company.
Yep.
Which was podcast production.
It was Parkville Media. Yeah, it was a podcast production company, and they contacted Bill Hipsher, the owner of Hurrdat, was on a podcast that we were producing for Core Bank. And he kind of saw the process and how slick it was, and that's exactly what they wanted for Hurrdat. So he made us an offer to acquire our company, and 3 months later, we were part of Hurrdat.
Yes, yeah, and Hurrdat also owns Hail Varsity. Did you guys have any relationship with Hail Varsity beforehand? Because Hail Varsity had a batch of podcasts, right?
We didn't. Yeah, they had a podcast that they were kind of, like Jay Moore was doing his on his own in his basement, and they had a couple of other ones that were just pieced together with Blue Yeti mics. And so when we came in, we kind of put everything under one kind of umbrella, upgraded the equipment and the production, and kind of helped organize. I mean, their content's great. There's no help. They don't need any help with that. So we just kind of upped the production value a little bit, and there's their Hail Varsity Network, yeah.
Okay. And then I kind of, I guess, saw all of this happening. I was on a Parkville podcast, Coffee with Carol, right when I was starting the Commonwealth.
I remember that,
Yes, yeah. And it's weird how things work out, because I remember you producing that episode.
Yeah.
So I guess saw Hurrdat acquiring Parkville, and at that time I was pitching sponsors for the Commonwealth, and I guess assumed that Hurrdat had either had or was going to have network sponsors, and instead of pitching my own content, if I joined Hurrdat, I would have access to their sponsors.
Yeah.
So shot an email under the guise of networking, hoping for all my podcasts to join the network, and then we had a 30-minute meeting that ended up being about 90 minutes.
Literally during that meeting, Chris Gorman, who was on there kind of conducting what turned into an interview, because 10 minutes in, he's like, I don't want this kid's podcast on the network. I want him to work for Hurrdat. He messaged me, and I said, okay, cool. So then he just kind of completely redirected the whole conversation and made it an interview.
Yes, yeah.
And I don't even know if you realized that.
Chris has told me
told
that
you?
story
Yeah,
a few
funny.
times. I didn't know about the Teams message while the live messaging while the conversation was happening. It was one of those that I saw where you guys were at, and Jill had a similar description of just you can do more when you join forces, and there's more resources, and the quality of shows in the Hurrdat network I would have never been able to work on alone. So my full-time job is promoting the content within the Hurrdat Media Network. I am doing the heavy lifting on Hollywood Raw, which is a paparazzi podcast with Dax and Adam. Adam's a member of the paparazzi in New York, Dax LA, and then they get who's Wednesday's episode?
Chris Jericho is on this week. Andy Dorfman was the week before, and so they're getting bigger and bigger guests every week, and it's in no small part to what you're doing. I mean, because you're really helping them grow their social. Because they weren't on YouTube, they weren't on TikTok, they weren't. So now they're really thriving there now. So you're doing a great job with those guys.
Yes, well, thank you. And that show, they're able to generate some crazy press that make Vanity Fair, 17 Magazine.
Makes our job easy.
Yes. Very, very easy. And we have some other big name shows launching soon here that it's pretty crazy hopping on Zoom calls with this like caliber of talent.
Right, it's crazy. And we felt the same way with Parkville, that we wanted to build a network for us as Parkville, but we just didn't have the resources to do it. And it came to that point where it's like, well, if we want to build what we really want to have, we either need to go get $1 million loan at the bank, which wasn't going to happen. No bank would laugh us out of the lobby.
Absolutely.
Or join forces with somebody like you just said, and that's the best way to do it. And it's the best group of people. It's awesome.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. And it's also given me the, I guess, chance to do what I'm really good at, as opposed to like I'm not the best podcast editor or even like storyboarding podcasts. I think like you and Jill are like particularly good in thinking through concepts. So then I get to focus just on promoting shows, which is kind of like as my bread and butter.
Well, because before you joined Hurrdat, you were like your own one-man band, like doing everything.
Basically,
and it's nice when you can kind of shed the stuff that you're not the best at and be honest with yourself and focus on, like you said, the stuff you're good at and let other people that are good at what you're not.
Yes, absolutely. So the Commonwealth moving forward, the Commonwealth is still its own entity that is partnered with Hurrdat and a member of the network. And then I am an employee of Hurrdat Media. So that's, I guess. That's
exactly right.
Straightforward?
No, straightforward,
okay,
yeah.
All right, amazing.
Yeah.
And then moving forward, I've done a bunch of thinking into like what I guess I hope the Commonwealth to be, and then where it's at now. That it is pretty crazy. When when Alec and I started this with the Journal Star, our, I guess, kind of North Star, if you will, was to get a 10,000 views or downloads on an episode. And that seemed, especially when the Journal Star dropped us, that seemed like a crazy task to achieve. And the Laura Carlson interview, which Laura is the YouTuber from Aurora, that has now about 25,000 plays on YouTube. So like seeing that we achieved the original goal. And the question I kept on asking myself was, if the next goal is to get every single episode every single episode to have 25,000 views or plays, do we need to keep doing what we're doing, or should we take a drastically different approach? And in that soul searching, I think we need to tweak the approach slightly, and I don't quite know what that is. And we've also been crazy busy with all these upcoming launches. So the Commonwealth is going to pause from releasing new episodes as of like this episode. So we've been, I would say, very good at releasing episodes every Monday for the last, basically since we started. And that like we are going to take a creative sabbatical to really, like, I guess, revamp and reassess what we're making and what we're putting out in the world, and improving it.
In your mind, what do you want to change it to? What do you want to pivot to?
Yeah, yes. So it's always tricky, like building community online. That's like I guess kind of what we're all doing.
Right.
Yeah, especially your show is very like community driven. Like the people that listen, there's definitely like a sense of that. And it's a double-edged sword being like locking yourself to a location, because that's the quickest way to resonate with people, but then also you alienate the like people who aren't from Eastern Nebraska. So what I would like it to be is like have content that has an audience that's like self-sufficient, like I can like support myself from the content I create. And for that, it's my understanding that we need like 100,000 to 1 million like people actively consuming our episodes. And when you go about making content that's 10,000 when you go about making content to get 10,000 views, it's very different, and the end product looks very different than making content to get 1 million.
Makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. So, and I like interviewing people, and it's like the one skill that I've gotten better and better, especially if you like go back to the first episodes of the Commonwealth. I was terrible interviewer.
It's fun going back to listen, because when you're doing that, you're thinking, hey man, this is pretty good. This is awesome. And then a year down the road or whatever, you look back and go, oh, holy cow, I've grown so much.
Exactly.
It's not that it was bad. It's just you've gotten better.
Yes.
Yeah.
and there's other things like, especially at the start and like working for a newspaper, I was hesitant to insert too much of my personality in the content, but I think like a character driven show is what I'm going to revamp it to.
Okay.
That I will like showcase like more of my personality and what I think and my opinions and thoughts.
That helps people connect with you more.
Totally. And that interview component, I think, is always going to be there. It may not. That it may just be me talking to the camera, like the traditional YouTube vlog style, and also like focused on video. And the Commonwealth probably in April we really switched like to like grow a YouTube channel, and that it was much more than audio. And that'll continue to be the case, whatever this new concept is.
Good. So. That's good. I'm glad. I'm happy for you. That's a smart decision, and not just it's the long play.
Yes, absolutely. And of all times to do it, I think now is like with the whole transitioning into Hurrdat, and then we're revamping studios that we have like this super nice big studio that we're moving into in a few months. And then the one we're in, we're going to like add lights and all that stuff to make it more video friendly. So
it'll be play right into what you want to do.
Exactly. Yeah. All right, Pat. Well, thanks for coming on and like asking me questions and all that.
Yeah, you got it, man. It's going to be exciting the next year or so, and I love. I think from the time you were on with Coffee with Carol, I thought your show was great. So I'm excited to see where it goes.
Thank you. Yes. And tap that subscribe button to stay updated into whatever this revamps into.